Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone, everywhere? Welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and all the other good stuff. If you don't know me, hey, welcome to the channel and all that other good stuff, man. As you see by the title of the video, we're talking about the new patch that came out for Diablo 4. I forgot what I was saying for a sec. You don't know what I do a lot of raw and uncut stuff. I'll tell you how like it is. I test a lot of other people's stuff, they builds and whatnot on YouTube, and really just, you know, tell you if it's legit, what's the best out there, etc. Okay. Look, I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and concise. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm playing the game as I'm doing this, so if I get a little distracted, mind you, it's raw and uncut, so always keep that in mind. But yeah, we are going to do this Legion event wherever it's at. Oh, there we go. But to talk about the patch, man, I see a lot of other creators. I looked at a lot of these other videos and whatnot. Everybody hating on it. I understand the hate. Trust you me, I made several rant videos, like over 45 minutes long yesterday. I decided not to post it though. Just give everything a chance, see how everything is, and really go from there. You can even see, I think that one guy, I don't know, he's pretty big. He had like 2 million subs and whatnot. But, why did I mess on my horse like that? That's crap. But, nonetheless, people are still doing Uber Lilith kills pretty easily, pretty efficiently. So, I mean, it's not that bad. Yes, everyone did get nerfed, and I personally still don't like the fact they did that, especially because there's a lot of other games that are either about to come out or coming out with like a new DLC, new season, stuff like that. So the fact that Diablo 4 chose to do this at this time is very bad overall. Okay, and I say that because there's there's a lot of other games out there. You got Destiny 2 literally with the final shape, so that's going to be very interesting how that transpires and how that occurs, especially with Cade coming back. You know, everyone's going to really try to hop on for that. You have a lot of these other games, man. Spider-Man coming out. Like there's several others. I'm not going to sit here and bore you with every game that's coming out. That's not what kind of channel I am. But nonetheless, there's a lot of other stuff out there, and I feel like Diablo 4 thinks that they already made it, so to speak. Like they're like the athlete that made it pro and now thinks they can just take a break. It's like, nah, you gotta keep going. Like, yeah, you got everyone's money for buying the game, but if you're trying to make more money, then you need to keep everything going. And I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on that. Everyone hates the patch. For the most part, all you see across YouTube is all these other creators moaning, groaning, complaining, which is very ironic, if you will, because all these creators asked for the nerf. It's like, oh, well, you gotta have vulnerable for everything. Vulnerable should be nerfed. Then they nerf vulnerable. Man, you shouldn't nerf vulnerable. Like, come on now. I don't know if y'all just trying to be dramatic for views or whatnot, but that's really annoying, low key, man. Like, I'm not even trying to be that guy, but let's call some people out, man, for their nonsense. Y'all know who y'all are if y'all watching the video. If you're not even watching the video, oh well. People who are watching the video, you probably let them know. Like, I ain't trying to sit here and have no smoke with all these little creators and whatnot. We might even collab sometimes. I'm just saying, like, a lot of these creators asked for these nerfs, asked for this stuff to happen, and then got upset that it happened. Like, I don't understand. It's just like a lot of times when it comes to like even politics, a lot of stuff you can't just move a boundary an inch or a slight, you know, foot along. You know, just push that line just a little far back. No, whatever you thought was gonna be an inch ends up becoming like 10 miles back. Like, it's happened every time throughout the course of history. I don't know why people are trying to sit here and not take human nature in consideration. But nonetheless, y'all ain't really coming for that. Let's really hop into it with this video. Now, the patch essentially, it gave some buffs, it gave some nerfs. Okay, now I will say that it seems like there's more nerfs than there are buffs. But I will also have to say that there's quite a few like hidden buffs, if you will, that people are not realizing. If you come over here for Druid, for example, this one right here, the Wrath one, is now a multiplicative 30% critical strike damage, not additive anymore. And when you come over here in your ability skill tree, everyone thinks that the critical strike damage that you have here for Envenom is just additive. When I saw on someone else's video, they said that they tested it and it's still multiplicative for them. I'm about to start testing that here soon. I'm finishing up my Werebell Pulverized build, as you can see by the background gameplay. I'll make a video about this with the patch and everything. You're able to overpower way more. It's actually very nice to play this again. But yeah, like there's stuff that end up getting fine-tuned, like, hey, overpowered for pulverizing and werebear actually works. I can actually spec into provocation now instead of this being overridden whenever enhanced pulverized triggers. You know what I mean? Like it gets ridiculous at times with some of the stuff that just kind of goes undone. Now I understand, trust me when I say I have video game experience. I'm able to code. I know several coding languages. That's the topic for a whole different channel. Mind you, I am making a tech channel, by the way, so keep that in mind. But nonetheless, I understand when, like, even the developer said at one point for that live stream that they did that, oh, can this be implemented now? Oh, it can't, because, you know, you develop a system in this particular way, in this particular order. And if we would have known that before, we could have developed a better system to implement this change. But because of the system that we currently have, this change is not really going to be implemented nicely and effectively. So trust you me, I understand that completely. And a lot of times I can even be seen seeming like I'm on a lot of developer side. And I understand why people view that. I've had that comment before. It's not necessarily me picking a side per se. I more just call it the nonsense. Like, a lot of the stuff is nonsense. Like, people complain about stuff that they asked for. Everyone wanted vulnerability nerf and it got nerfed. But then you complain that it got nerfed. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, what was you expecting? A little nerf? And even with the little nerf, like, people are still killing Uber Lilith like crazy, pretty easily at that. All the different classes can do it, mind you. People have already posted on YouTube of those videos of them doing it, and even that one guy, he reacted to all these people, and I was looking at them same videos. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what's really going on here. A lot of these creators are being very dramatic about these buffs and these nerfs. Now there are some buffs. Keep in mind that, okay, it's not just straight nerfs like everyone's trying to lead you to believe. A lot of people aren't even reading the full patch notes. I did see that as well with some of these creators. So you definitely want to keep everything in mind when you are listening to these different creators and, like, okay, who are you listening to? Essentially, are they reliable enough? I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm the only reliable one. Trust you me, there's plenty of reliable content creators on the game, on YouTube, for multiple different games. I just try to, you know, always keep my word and do what's best for the community as a whole. So that's my kind of standpoint. But I will say there are some problems I do have with these patch notes nonetheless, okay? One of them being, you nerfed all the drop rates for everything, right? Besides Hell Tides and, what was it? Hell Tides and Nightmare Dungeons. Those are the only two things that essentially the game encourages you to do, because those are what actually drops the good gear for you and all that, right? Okay, with that being said, oh my goodness, that's gonna bring me to a whole nother point here in a sec. With that being said, Hell Tides, you increased the okay, you want more risk reward, but you increased the amount of cinders you need to get the mystery chest. It went from 175, which already a lot. So a lot of times, if you're not in a group, if you're not a lot of coordinated or just getting controlled like crazy, you're actually going to sit here and excuse me, you're actually going to sit here end up losing all of your cinders all over again multiple times over, and it seems like pointless. Okay, Helltide is quite bad. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. It's quite bad now. Before it was like, okay, this could be a semi-viable way. Mind you, they said they enhanced or increased the drop rates for a lot of stuff. So, okay, that's good. But still, nonetheless, ooh, hold on, what was that? Is that the werewolf one? No, I got the thorn one. Interesting. Gonna see how that has to go. But, ooh, that's a good roll. But yeah, you push people towards Helltides and Nightmare Dungeons, but then for some reason, somehow, some way, it made all Helltides harder. One, were way squishier. You saw I just got one-shotted. If all my defense are up with debilitating reward and that 70% damage resistance increase, plus my earthen bulwark with a massive barrier, and I have all the types of damage resistance, all this other stuff, and werebear form and all that other crap. Why am I getting one-shotted out of it? Why am I getting killed out of it easily? Like these ads, if I stay around ads too long, whether spiders or the little weird guy, whatever, the little goat people with the axes and stuff, like there's so many things that can just kill me easily. And I don't understand. Like that does not make sense. Why is that the case? I feel like that is a big flaw to the game as a whole. Like you encourage people to play a certain way, but then the way that you encourage them to play is messed up and pretty much alienating only the top echelon of players. And they made all these patches, all these fixes, essentially for the top echelon of players. Because let them tell it, most of the people have not complete the story. So people aren't completing the story. People aren't able to make builds. Oh my goodness, see, I almost got killed out of that. Before that would never happen. Oh my goodness.
I'm not ready.
Grizzly Rage got nerfed too. This is just mess after mess. But nonetheless, okay. I know that kind of round, that was kind of hard. But yeah. It's like, come on, pick a struggle, make up your mind, so to speak. It doesn't make sense. Like, why are you sitting here pushing for one, but then you make that one that you're pushing for harder to do for everybody as a whole? Like, come on now. That does not make sense. That does not add up. That's not very smart math, especially when going back to the point of there are other games out here. There's other games that everybody is going to play. Okay, you need to solidify yourself in a sense to where, oh, hey, I need to make sure that we have player retention. Don't become like Outriders. Don't become like all these other games like Anthem and whatnot, where you have players at first and then you just drop the ball. Like, actually take care of this. Blizzard dropped the ball with Overwatch 2, no PvE coming with that. That's their whole justification for making a whole nother game, a number 2 to it. And then that didn't come to anything. So it's like, what's the point? Like, Blizzard, you're constantly doing this crap. And for one, I'm on the fence of, I don't understand why. Like, I genuinely do not. I am quite confused of why this is happening. Like, come on now. And it may just be seeming like I'm going off on a rant time and time again, but I try not to, okay? I want to make this video and really get to the nitty gritty of stuff. Like, essentially, you kind of saw in the patch, you kind of saw all these other people. I'm going to summarize for you. Everyone got nerfed with their damage across the board. The damage reduction across the board got nerfed. The armor stats got nerfed. They didn't fix resistances yet, so that was just crap. You weakened everyone, made everyone more squishy and weaker and deal less damage, but did not provide a viable substitute for that. That's what does not make sense. At least provide a substitute for those things if you're going to nerf it. I come from the same background of game development, and you should always provide a substitute for these things. Like, that does not make sense in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Like, I don't see why that's a thing. Like, I don't mean to keep harping on it. I just really want to get that point across. Like, it's just bad nonetheless. Okay, but let's move on for that. Okay, a lot of the nerfs, they're bad, like how I was kind of pointing out here, but they're not that bad. Similar to how I said before, people are still doing uber Lilith kills. People are still hitting like crazy. Tornado, like I even saw the one dude who did the uber Lilith kill. He did the werewolf tornado for druid and paired it along with shred. So he did like a hybrid of 2 builds. Yeah, that still did like over 50 million in that video. You have proof to show it, right? Rogue pretty much only got buffs. It got 1 nerf, but it really wasn't even that bad of a nerf. Okay. What else? I'm trying to think. Let's see, because everything is going blank for me. The sorcery, that is pathetic. If I've ever known pathetic, that is pathetic. My homeboy right here, Yaakov, right? Check out his channel and all that other good stuff. Well, my homeboy Yaakov, bro, he's a sorcerer himself. And you see what level he is. So not only is he going to struggle because that got nerfed too, the whole level and getting up there in level, even though you want the game to be more alt friendly, but yet nerf experience, and be more new player friendly, but yet nerf experience, does not make sense at all. In preparation for a season, we have to make another character, and once again, you nerf experience. Doesn't make sense, yo. Make it make sense, y'all. Like, come on, make it make sense.
Greetings.
But I digress, man. I digress. Okay, but a lot of these nerfs, they are pretty bad overall, but they're not that bad where they're like game breaking, it's unplayable, and all this other stuff. You have to be way more careful. They pretty much cranked up the difficulty meter for a lot of this content, essentially. Okay, I feel like I think I heard someone say it before too, pre-patch though, that they try to make a lot of this stuff seem like Elden Ring, when they've even said, and other people even said, that this is more like a casual player kind of game. So if it's a casual player kind of game, why would you nerf experience? Casual player is gonna play like 20-30 minutes a day, maybe an hour a day, or every other day, or in a week. You know what I mean? Like, they got work, they got jobs, they got all this other stuff to do. They're not gonna sit here and just grind all this stuff out. And there's no casual player in the month or 2 months that the game's been out that reach level 100. Like, you see all these people here, where's all their level 100? Oh, they're 80s, 60s, 90s. Like, they're getting close, but they're not up there. And they have no hope to get up there anytime soon. Even me, once I finally hit World Tier 4, I was like, yes. Feels like I'm finally getting enough XP for killing enemies and whatnot and doing activities. So I was happy about that. I was starting to level up a little bit faster. Now I'm in World Tier 4, and it literally took me a day and some change to get from 70 and 1/4. So it was like that first node of Paragon Point and 70. From that point all the way to this point now. So a level and a half essentially took me a day to do. And I was grinding, like, I did multiple recordings of like 40+ minute videos trying to have some background gameplay for you. Okay, so I'm just really trying to figure out what is going on here. Like, this is not for casual people, or you're trying to make it not be for casuals. And if you're trying to make it not be for casuals, what is then your substitute? Just make the game harder, nerf everything to the ground, or close to the ground, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. Sorcerer used to be good, it's crap. Barbarian, it's still good. It got nerfed and then got buffs, and it's been up and down. It's still good overall, okay? I know the one guy said it was the worst class in the game, but that's a lie. It's still sorcery. Sorcery is too squishy. It does okay damage, but it's too squishy. Druid is still good once you actually have gear, and at least they fixed that. Oh my goodness. I finally had the Tempest Roar, and it took me forever to get. Okay? At least they fixed, or helped in the drop chances and drop rates for some of this gear. This is just ridiculous what the drop rates were before. And that was Druid's whole thing. You have to have gear. You have to have a whole build together before a Druid can even be effective. It can be one of the top classes if you have everything there, but if you don't, it's not that. Excuse the dogs in the background. Let me see if I can. She was out in the back. But yeah. And then something that was already the top of the echelon of classes was Rogue, and you nerfed one thing that doesn't even matter to Rogue overly. It only matters in what one build, and everything else about Rogue essentially got buffed. So it's like, okay, the top class already got slightly nerfed and then majorly buffed. Druid got pretty nerfed. Like, you have 25, you have 30% total armor reduction across the board of all things. Then you got an additional 25 on top of that for a werebear or werewolf, which now is like, okay, what's the point about being in this form? I thought if I'm in the form, I'm supposed to have enhanced muscles, reflexes, strength, all this stuff, be real cool, and stuff's not supposed to kill me. But yet, I'm in the form with my enhanced muscles, strength, speed, agility, whatever, right? And I'm squishy as ever. I'm getting one-shotted out like crazy. I'm getting controlled effect like crazy. Even with my different abilities that can get me out of and grant me unstoppable. Like, it's ridiculous. And all this stuff's be on cooldown for so long, and you kind of count on Grizzly Rage to really help you out and maneuver through that. These other classes have ways to go about and being unstoppable, okay? Or their equivalent of unstoppable, okay? Being control effect freed. And you nerf Druids. Now, granted, I appreciate you didn't really touch on the damage, because if you sat here and grinded for all this gear, did all this work, excuse me, talking in the background again, did all this work for all this gear, grinded all this time, and then just nerfed the gear to the ground, which they already kind of somewhat did, then it's like, what's the point? What is the point of sitting here and grinding for this stuff? You just pretty much gave everyone a slap in the face, like, hey, you put all this time, we want you to play the game, but everything you did and worked for in the game, yeah, we just threw that out the window. Like, it's like, come on now. And granted, I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself in the sense of I said the nerfs weren't that bad. Some are for some playstyles. Others don't really matter for some playstyles because they were just inherently powerful and can like get past that. Like, they're gonna still be at some hindrance, but it's not going to be that bad of a hindrance, if that makes sense. Now, I do say that to say that, that's, like I said before, essentially all characters are squishy and do less damage. That's not a good thing with a viable substitute, okay? We have no viable substitute to sat here and do the damage and get the, you know, the armor and damage resistance back. We're counting on the season to grant us these hearts and whatnot that we can take power from. But what about everyone that's not playing the season? What about everyone that is still trying to work on their main character in the Eternal Realm? What about everyone that's still going through the campaign? Like, there's so many other people that is not a YouTuber or some type of Twitch streamer, content creator-esque person that's gonna no-life the crap out the game. Like, that does not make sense. You're focusing on a finite, minute demographic to what? And just everyone else just has to deal with it? Come on now. That's a bad implementation style. Hell Tides, the chest increase is ridiculous. The leveling experience is ridiculous. The XP should be reverted off rip. You can't carry people through things anymore. I can kind of understand that, but why did you have to sit here and mess with the XP from that? Just if you're not carrying people, like, that's crap. Then you're kind of almost forced to do the campaign, because doing all the regular stuff that you would do, like dungeons and whatnot, is now not as good because the XP from that is crap. So ridiculous nonetheless. Certain classes are still bad. Content creators are blowing this stuff out of proportion. I mean, look, this video is already going to be long as is. It's already 25 minutes long. I don't want to make it a 40-minute video and rant, tangent, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to try to recap here. Let me know if you want a part 2. I can really get into a lot of like minute details of the game and go from there. Really react to other people's videos and get my take on this stuff. I just feel like as a whole, the patch was not the best. Well, there's a few good things in it where they have fixed the game better, like, oh hey, alters a Lilith and the map exploration and stuff like that. That's great. Quality of life stuff is great. Fixing the how damage stacks and the math of the game that the game is already based on in the first place. Great. What's not great is when you just make everyone weaker, to then you feel like you are almost forced to play this season or just find another game entirely. And that's what people are going to do. They're going to find another game. You got all these other games coming out. All these other games are putting out updates and DLCs and patches and seasons and all this other stuff. Like, there's other games to be played besides Diablo 4. I feel like they're low-key riding on their hype of what they did with the, you know, breaking records of Steam and whatnot, and how the faster selling copies of the game and stuff. Like, that's cool, but don't let that go to your head. So nonetheless, let me know in the comment section down below your feelings about the patch, how you going about it, what have you seen from other content creators, etc. What do you want me to cover on this stuff? If you want me to react to different content creators, etc. What kind of content you want to see. I'm posting my Druid builds here real soon. About to record that literally right after this. For those of y'all that rock me on different games like DC, Destiny, and whatnot, I also have the builds for that I am going to be posting real soon. I have to finish up a little bit of testing that I still have left on DC for nature loadouts. So be patient on that. I only say that because, 1, I've been playing this game. 2, I have a life. And 3, there's some testing that's pretty inconsistent, especially when we know all those dots and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Another thing, on Destiny, we're definitely going to be dropping a lot more Destiny content, and my builds, especially being a hunter, for Destiny, because I have a lot of builds that I do not see on YouTube. I know I kind of made a somewhat build video and you know, collage of build video before, but I'm gonna really get into it like I do on DC. Okay, so nonetheless, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video out, let people know. Let's have a conversation. Let's pretty much make this a big old community forum and go from there. So share this out as much as possible so we can really get to that community forum as style. And without further ado, peace and shalom.